20 new medieval games. Okej, här har vi det. Here we go.
There's something about video games set in the Middle Ages, whether it be more reality-based or fantasy, having you go off and fight a dragon. You're basically living all of these stories you grow up hearing about, like King Arthur and all the great novels by Tolkien or George R.R. Martin. There's a reason people love this stuff. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on GameRanx, the top 20 new medieval games of 2023. Starting off at number 20, it is the Quinfall.
Medieval kan vara tråkigt.
Looking new MMORPG.
Men
with a 2,000 plus square kilometer
medieval
world
fantasy.
that looks hyper-realistic and gorgeous. Everything I've seen of this game just looks amazing. And knowing that it's a PvP and PvE MMORPG with a ton of customization, it sure looks cool. The Quinfall is coming to PC
I don't know about this game, man.
this year.
I don't know about this game.
At number 19 is The Lords of the Fallen, a dark fantasy action RPG
That's a good
that is actually a sequel to the 2014 game of the same name. Now, the original was a Souls-like, and so will this. I mean, it's probably not a drastic departure. However, visually, it looks pretty different, at least as far as I can remember. The original was pretty well received, but sometimes was criticized as maybe a little bit easy for a Souls-like. It's been a really long time since I've played it, so I can't really remember if that's true or not, but I do remember it fondly. And just off that, I'm pretty excited to play a new Lords of the Fallen. It looks way cooler.
Jag researchar lite.
We do not have an exact date, but it is going to be a next-gen title launching on the PS5,
jag taggar på det här
Xbox
spelet i
Series,
alla fall.
and
Det
PC
konceptet ser
sometime
coolt
this
ut.
year. At number 18 is the Lord of the Rings Gollum. This is one of those games where if you haven't been paying attention, it might really sneak up on you. It feels like it's been in development
Kan de skicka det till
forever,
Hult?
but it was actually only announced in 2021. It's a game where you have to play as Gollum, obviously.
Va?
It mixes action, adventure, and stealth to some extent. Exactly what we don't know because obviously we've not played it. And there really isn't a whole lot of footage out there. It doesn't look like there's combat, but I don't know. But if it ends up being third-person, combatless, Gollum Dishonored, honestly, I'm there for it. We do not have an exact date, but it's slated for the PlayStations, the Xboxes, PC, and actually, yes, Nintendo Switch sometime this year. And number 17 is the Senua Saga Hellblade II, the follow-up to what is just a fantastic game. This is also a game that they've been using to kind of show us what Unreal Engine 5 looks like. Holy hell. The graphics on this one are just blowing my mind, but also I'm just really excited for the story to continue. The original game, sometimes a little bit simple, but is really effective at telling a great narrative, and it's a lot of fun. For anybody who doesn't remember, this is a game about somebody with schizophrenia fighting their way. My one hope is that they can take what is a really good basis for combat and give us a little bit more varied of an experience in the combat, because it's super fun, but man, they did not give us a lot in terms of different enemies.
My daily life.
By the end of it, felt like every fight was pretty similar, despite the fact that the basis of the combat system is actually really enjoyable. That's my one gripe. If they fix that, this is going to be a fantastic sequel. Senua's Saga Hellblade II is going to land on the Xbox Series and the PC sometime this year. At number 16 is Wolong Fallen Dynasty. It's sort of medieval. It takes place in a kind of fantastical ancient China.
Det är medieval,
so yeah, it is yet another Souls-like game, but it's from who we would consider the second best.
Unbossed. Hello, I'm back. I'm back.
As developer at it. Obviously, you're not going to beat From Software at their own game, but these guys made Neo and Neo 2, which are easily the best non-From Souls-likes. This game gives you tons more flexibility of movement, combat styles. It introduces more magic spells. Plus, that kind of a give and take mechanic.
Okej, varför ser min pag så weird ut? Är det fel pag?
What did you expect, honestly? And straight up, it's pretty awesome. At number 15 is Night Crows. Frankly, a pretty out of nowhere MMORPG coming from whybenice, and they're boasting 1,000-player PvP. If they can deliver a 1,000-player PvP MMORPG, I mean, they win just on that alone. We'll see. We don't have a release date. It's supposedly coming this year to PC, though, and perhaps other platforms. We'll see. At number 14 is Project the Perceiver, an action RPG. This is a game that looks like a Dark Souls game at first, and then you start seeing just completely different things.
What?
Like there's this mask system that allows you to essentially take on the form of any enemy you've defeated. There's some acrobatic stuff that you definitely wouldn't see in Dark Souls. There's some aspects of, I mean, there's a bunch of gameplay that's been released of this, and there's stuff that reminds me of Shadow of Mordor in the combat. I don't know. There's a lot that this could be, and the fact that they released so much gameplay up front, like they just threw 40 minutes of how this game works at people for them to scrutinize. It shows a lot of confidence, and it looks like a great project. Project the Perceiver is coming sometime this year. At number 13, another project, Project Awakening, something that looks a little bit different from the previous, however. Basically, the developer Cygames is targeting something between Monster Hunter and Dragon's Dogma as an action RPG. Big ol' open world. It kind of looks like the era of the Monster Hunter genre has officially began. And details are a little sparse on Project Awakening, but it's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's targeted to hit sometime this year. Was originally announced for PlayStation 4 and PC. I think we'll probably see it on PlayStation 5, maybe on PlayStation 4. I don't know. We'll see, though. And number 12 is the Awakener Risen, an open-world action RPG set in a fantasy world, of course. It comes to us from Chinese developer Tenor Games. It's single-player, and it's pretty cool looking. It's certainly got a unique look to it. It reminds me of the, like, mid-2000s type fantasy online game. But again, it's a single-player action RPG, and of course it was made now, so it looks significantly nicer. It looks a lot like Dragon's Dogma, and I'm not complaining about that at all. This is another PlayStation exclusive, so probably see it on PS4, PS5, but it's also coming to PC sometime this year. And number 11 is Gangs of Sherwood, a co-op set in a reimagined Robin Hood Sherwood forest. The idea is that the Sheriff of Nottingham has obtained Philosopher's Stones and is now very powerful. You are standing up against him. Up to 4 players can play co-op in this game. It looks really cool, honestly. It's got a kind of an arcadey look to it, and wow, is there not enough games that go for that nowadays. Gangs of Sherwood is coming to Xbox Series, PS5, and PC sometime this year. And number 10 is Blight Survival, another 4-player co-op. This one's a roguelite, though, so in terms of the arcade elements we were talking about on the last one, this is a decidedly slower-looking game, set during a plague, like it's a medieval zombie game. Looks kind of like medieval Resident Evil 4.
Hello, Sven.
Don't know if that's how it's gonna play out.
Vill du spela det spelet med mig när det kommer ut? Blight Survival. Det är medieval, open world, survival med zombies.
But the sword action that we've seen is very cool looking. This one's on PC only and doesn't have a set date, but we'll see it sometime this year.
Okay.
And number 9 is Manor Lords, a strategy game.
Strategy game!
We'd be talking about a whole lot of those, did you? Well, it's a pretty cool looking one, honestly. You got the whole range of strategy games here. Like I said, you got city building, you got an economy, social stuff, but more importantly, you got large-scale tactical battles, meaning this thing ranges from creating to destroying. That's everything that I need in a strategy game, and I'm really excited to see where this one goes.
Strategy games.
Looks cool as hell. We don't have a release date, but it's coming this year, and I can't wait to play it. And number 8 is Spellforce Conquest of EO, a hybrid of a 4X strategy game and an RPG. At first breath, it looks a lot like an RTS, but it's actually not. Firstly, it is turn-based. Secondly, it's extremely story-heavy. It's oriented towards kind of tactical RPG stuff, but also turn-based strategy, 4X type stuff. I don't know. It's a different game. It's also one that has really mixed opinions. There are some people who think it's amazing and some people who think it's trying too hard. I think if that combination sounds interesting to you, it's definitely worth a spin, though. Spellforce Conquest of EO is currently out on PC.
Don't ask me, man.
And number 7 is Undead Citadel, a
VR
right now, hack-and-slash horde zombie game.
VR hack and
to be frank, this is the type of
Sven
that if you're not interested in VR will make you interested in VR, because this is exactly what I want out of VR. Physics-based weapon hack and slash. Sword, shield, bow and arrow, zombies. just looks fantastic, and I am so ready to get in on this. We don't have a specific date for it, but obviously it's coming to VR platforms, including Oculus Vive and the new PlayStation VR. Wow, I can't wait. And number 6 is Dragon Age Dreadwolf. If you're aware of Dragon Age, you know what you're getting from this. I'm guessing it's going to be a much bigger game than the previous one because they're probably going to make it a point to do way better than the Mass Effect sequel, Andromeda, and Anthem. Dragon Age Inquisition was such a beloved game that did so much right. There's a lot riding on this, but I do think they have it in them to pull it off. It's coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC sometime this year. And number 5 is Crimson Desert, coming to us from the developers of Black Desert Online, Pearl Abyss. It is using the engine that they developed for Black Desert Online. However, it is not going to be a prequel to that story as originally intended. It ended up being something that they consider different enough from Black Desert Online that it's worth just making into its own thing. Crimson Desert looks pretty cool, too. That's going to be landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC sometime this year. Moving on to number 4 is Assassin's Creed Mirage, set in the Middle East and giving us that kind of old school Assassin's Creed experience. This is something a lot of fans have been wanting for a long time because, yes, the recent large open world Assassin's Creed games have been fantastic, but they also have that Ubisoft open world crap. I'm excited for a narrative-focused, slightly more streamlined Assassin's Creed game. It's kind of been something I've got a hankering for. I do hope they continue making the large ones, but I hope that we also get small ones now too. Hopefully Assassin's Creed Mirage is successful and we see more Assassin's Creed games along these lines. It'll be landing on the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and Windows sometime this year. At number 3, The Witcher Remake. Gonna just say right off, we don't know a lot about this. We do know that it's a full Unreal Engine 5
Det kan bli sick. Det kan bli sick.
The original Witcher game. No idea if that means they're bringing back the voice cast. No idea exactly how big it's going to be, but we do know that the original Witcher is a kind of a weird, janky game that has a ton of charm, and it's most likely going to turn into a game that's like The Witcher 3, but with The Witcher's story. I'm really looking forward to it. They haven't said what consoles it's coming to, but I would assume at least PS5 and Xbox Series, maybe last gen, not sure yet, definitely PC, and apparently it might come out this year, but we aren't 100% sure. That said, we really are excited for it and wanted to talk about it. And number 2 is the Gothic Remake, which is being billed as a faithful, full remake of the original Gothic, which to call a revolutionary game would really be an understatement. And now it's going to look incredible. Everything we've seen of this remake just really looks cool. The environments look very pretty. Characters don't look like, 2001 jank. And the combat has apparently been updated to some extent too. I don't know. I'm really excited because this is one of those games that I don't really enjoy going back to despite enjoying it when it came out. It's just such an old game that's so full of jank, it can be frustrating at times. That said, it was revolutionary and it caused so much to happen in the gaming world. I'm just really excited to see it sort of be given the treatment it deserves. It's coming out sometime this year on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. Finally, at number 1, befitting its name, it's Final Fantasy 16. That's a whole lot of Final Fantasies, isn't it? Now, I don't know exactly what this game is going to look like in terms of combat. I really hope they integrate a lot of the stuff they came up with for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Inte Final
because
Fantasy.
I enjoy both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 15's combat a lot. Like, I think
Är det medieval?
for somewhere between those two things, they've got like, the perfect modern Final Fantasy.
Är det medieval? Är det
going forward.
futuristic? Alltså jag fattar inte Final Fantasy.
story from the
I
looks
ett
of it.
spel
There's
kör
very
de runt i en
likely to be
bil
war
och sen
and
nu
intrigue
fightas
over
de
the
mot
crystals
drakar,
and
så
who can
make no
use what
sense.
powers. Final Fantasy is just always an epic, massive, ridiculous story, and I cannot wait to dive into a new one. Final Fantasy 16 is landing only on the PS5 at first on June 22nd. Elden Ring Erd Tree DLC, properly named Shadow of the Erd Tree. Really, we don't know a lot about this right now. There's a whole lot of speculation. Obviously, it was just announced very recently. But obviously, of course, I want more Elden Ring. They're slating it as an expansion, so I would guess that it would be longer than like one of those single mission DLC type things.
Let's go.
Maybe even like a mini sequel.
Let's
That's
go.
what my fingers are crossed for. I'm excited. Obviously, it's probably
I
going to
don't
come
see
to
you.
every platform that Elden Ring is on, and it's supposed
Jag gjorde actually in-game emoten Give me strength, eller vad den heter, strength, någonting sånt heter den.
to coming this year. Stormright, an open world game in which you're tasked with becoming an expert assassin capable of waging war via the dark arts. Apparently, the realm of Redreach is under threat by the return of Requiem, which is a being feared across the land, according to marketing materials.
According to marketing
I love what this game
materials.
looks like. The magic stuff looks really, really cool.
Alltså,
in terms of consoles, it's an Xbox exclusive, but it's also coming to PC sometime this year. Love what this game looks like. The magic stuff looks really, really cool. In terms of...
Yep. Alltså, titta på det här. Det här ser ut som en Xbox exclusive. Holy fuck. Alltså, jag trodde i en sekund att jag kollade på Oblivion. Oblivion gameplay. Elden Ring är good game. Elden Ring är good game. The Dark Souls, det är pipi-poo-poo.
Consoles is an Xbox exclusive, but it's also coming to PC sometime this year. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you
Alltså, nu har inte jag spelat de andra Dark Souls-spelen, men det känns verkligen precis som att typ Dark Souls gjorde genren. Men du vet, alla de spin-offsen är mycket bättre. Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, Demon Souls. Men jag får spela 2:an och 3:an innan jag får säga någonting.